Yo, I caught up to One Piece about 2-ish years ago. I remember because it was exactly episode 1004, but I don't know if it's just me. But when I first caught up, the community was fine, it was okay. But in these past couple years, it has gotten so much worse. And dare I say it, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the community has gotten way dumber. So I feel like as a community, we have some things that we need to be reminded on in the way that One Piece functions. So today I have 5 hard facts that One Piece fans need to accept. I'll be honest, it was hard coming up with 5 because there's so many dumb things that One Piece fans say. But I think I got down to the core 5 things that I want to talk about. And number 1 is just the undeniable fact that the OG 5 Straw Hats are always going to be more important than the rest of them.
Why would you say that?
And what I mean by that is they're always going to get more screen time and more attention in the narrative than anybody else. Even when those OG 5 don't have anything going on, Oda will still find a way to shoehorn them in just to give them the screen time they need, or sometimes the screen time they don't need. I'm sorry, bro, but if you weren't at that barrel scene, I just don't think Oda cares about you like that. I'm just taking what the story give me, and it just makes sense. These were the core members. They all put their foot on that barrel and said their dream. Like, that is an iconic moment of One Piece, and only those 5 were there for it. And we all know how important dreams are in One Piece. So for all of them to come together and declare their dream together, that really means something. Like, these people are really the heart of the crew, even all the way down to the way that they were recruited. All of these OG 5 Straw Hats are people that Luffy encountered just by random chance. He didn't have a log post, he didn't have an idea of where he was going. He just ended up in the place that these people were going to be at. And I think it ties in a lot to the themes of fate in One Piece and how Luffy just draws these people to him. I will say though, Robin is an honorable mention to this because she's also very important to the narrative and also gets a lot of attention, not just in the story but around the world of One Piece. And she's another character whose dream is integral to changing the entire world of One Piece. So
you better be hot or smacking the shit out of you, word of blood.
As for number 2 on this list, it's time for people to just accept the Admiral's strength, bro. They're up there. A lot of people wanted to say that they wasn't up there, and now we seeing it firsthand, even though we already seen it, but niggas was just in denial about it. But I think it's very clear to say now that Zoro and Sanji are not Admiral level. At least not yet. And I honestly think at this point, it's disrespectful to the Admirals to even compare Zoro and Sanji to them. The Admirals are well above your average commander. I don't know where that came from that the Admirals were commander level. That's just not even funny. But the thing about the Admiral thing is, this is a long time agenda. Imagine somebody who's been watching since Marineford. This has been downplaying the Marines for 10 plus years. And you think he gonna stop now? One day we really need to have a talk about Marineford and how that damaged the Admiral agenda so bad. But it shouldn't have, because the story gave every narrative reason for why the Admirals couldn't go all out in that fight. But you know, One Piece fans can't read, so at the end of the day, One Piece fans see what they want to see. And what they wanted to see was the Admirals can't with Yonko. But it's like they should have just seen this right over the horizon, because every time we see the Admirals in story, Oda always nerfs them. He finds a way to distract them, or he finds a way to make it so that fighting is antithetical to their mission, or he finds a reason for why they have to hold back. And after a while, it became obvious to me that Oda was saving the Admirals for the end of the story. And you know what happens at the end of the story, right? You fight your strongest enemies yet. I'm not saying that the Admirals are stronger than Yonko, even though I think some Admirals are stronger than some Yonko. But it's time to smell the roses, bro. Oda saved them this long for a reason. And y'all can keep coping, but eventually you're gonna have to start understanding how these type of things play out.
I'm smoking on Bhutanese Shadow Garden grown Dark Evil pack.
One Piece fans always prove that they have no understanding of how these things play out. And this leads me into my third point. Linear power scaling does not work in One Piece. You have to stop, bro. One thing about Oda does not really care about power scaling like that. He has made it obvious. The story will always come first before making consistent power scaling. So I see a lot of One Piece fans make these comparisons of like, X character has top tier hockey. They got advanced conquerors and advanced armament, and they have a OP devil fruit. So they should beat this character who only has an OP devil fruit and just good armament and advanced armament. He should beat him.
It's false.
But Oda don't write his story like that. A prime prime example is Roger versus Whitebeard, and the amount of people that I've seen recently arguing that Whitebeard is stronger than Roger by the argument of Roger just had top tier hockey, but Whitebeard had top tier hockey and OP Devil Fruit. I'm sorry, bro, but Oda does not write his story that logically. At the end of the day, narratively, if Oda wants Roger to be stronger than Whitebeard, he's gonna be stronger than Whitebeard, and there's not gonna be any good reason for it other than Roger had more magic points than that nigga. That's just how it go. It's the same shit when people talk about like Dofi versus Ulti. Who? Well, Ulti was able to fight this person, and this person beat Dofi like this many episodes ago, so
yes, but actually no.
It don't matter. Dofi is more important than Ulti, so if we see Dofi fighting again, he's gonna be stronger than Ulti, because that's just how it go. Especially in shonen, bro. Consistency doesn't matter that much when we're talking about insane, physically impossible shit happening anyway. So it's always funny to me when anime fans try to create consistency in it, and I see them do shit like this in other fandoms too, like Naruto and shit. Y'all look so ridiculous, like measuring out the pixels on a page to see how big an explosion is.
Is it crack? Is that what you smoke?
As if Oda or Kishimoto didn't just draw it that big because that looks good enough, that looks cool, that looks strong enough. Power scaling is fun, don't get me wrong. It's fun to argue with people about power scaling. But just keep the story in mind when you're talking about it, because you're going to end up believing in some stupid ass agendas.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Speaking of stupid ass agendas, at number 4 we have Kaido is not top 1. I see a lot of people argue that Kaido is top 1 based on the feats that we've seen, which is just unfair because you always got to add in the MC fight tags. What? When someone fights the main character, they're always going to look really strong because the main character has to get a long drawn out fight where everything is going to get shown on screen. As opposed to Kaido fighting Big Mom for 3 days and we didn't see that at all. Or Shanks and Mihawk duels. We haven't seen Shanks and Mihawk duel. We don't know how strong them niggas is. But just because we've seen Kaido's drawn out fight the most, people use those feats to say he's the strongest. When again, narratively, it just doesn't make sense. It also doesn't help that Kaido is the most physically intimidating person I think we've seen in the story, but Kaido was not a end of series villain. Stronger villains will come. They have to. There will be no narrative significance to anything if all the villains from this point on are just weaker than Kaido was. Every villain looks good against Luffy because they get to fight the like 3 or 4 times. Of course you're gonna look good if you're knocking Luffy out like 6 times and you're still able to fight.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more.
But oh, here's the real controversial take. I think current Gear 5 Luffy would beat Kaido. If they ran it back right now, Kaido would lose.
I'm the type of nigga stand on business, nigga. One man arm against 50, nigga.
And people always make this argument of like, oh, Kaido fought Zoro and Kid and Law who did like 5% damage at most. But even if Kaido was damaged, so was Luffy. Even when he went Gear 5, he was still on the verge of passing out. He was still feeling all that damage. It's not like that shit went away. He just got a little boost from his awakening. So like from an argument of how much damage they took, I'd say they were both at about 20%. So even if Kaido came back, Luffy would still end up beating him. It would be hard. It wouldn't be easy, but he would still beat him. Kaido probably dead though, so it don't matter. And for my 5th and final fact, judging One Piece or any long-running manga for that matter, chapter by chapter will always be dumb as fuck. Simply because in a series like One Piece, chapters are not self-contained stories. It is very rare that you'll have a chapter that has its own self-contained story in One Piece, or really in any long-running shonen. And you get this thing where One Piece fans say that, oh, One Piece has gotten boring because we go like 2 or 3 chapters without any crazy hype shit happening. But if you've ever read any story ever, you know for the sake of the story, they have to get certain things into place and get certain things into position. One ingredient cannot be judged without the full meal. And I always see people talk about chapters without taking in the context of what they mean to the whole arc. It's really dumb to me, especially in One Piece where we have long arcs where certain things are going to be set up very early and you won't see the end of it until the end of the arc, or maybe even the end of the next arc. And One Piece fans are always jumping the gun, especially about plot points that Oda introduces early and doesn't immediately pay off right in that moment, to where they call things drop plot points, as if they've never watched One Piece before.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb.
And haven't seen things be introduced in episode 50 and we not find out what they're talking about until episode 300. And there's also this thing that happens in storytelling that I'm gonna call the mid-arc dip. I know there's probably like a technical real term for it, but I'm just gonna call it the mid-arc dip, where like you're not getting that many crazy revelations right now or insane things. At least on its face, you're not getting many insane things, but it's still setting up important things and important information for you to know, to the point where when you get to the end of the arc, those those things that happened in the middle that felt insignificant will show their significance. And this is just normal story structure, but I've noticed in the anime manga community, this kind of structure really frustrates viewers. And it causes, especially in the One Piece community, this repetitive discourse about, has Oda fell off? Did he drop this plot point? He forgot all about this thing. This character gets no love. And it's the same repeat, and they always do this. And it's even worse on Twitter now because niggas get paid for engagements. So now they do this shit knowing what they're doing just to get views, but it is what it is. I also think a lot of it comes from people who have been binge reading, probably people who have picked up anime and manga very recently, and literally every series that they've watched or read, they've binge read it or binge watched it. So they haven't had to deal with the drag of week to week when you're just waiting for certain plot points to play out. And I get that, but it's cool, bro. Take your Adderall, calm down, you're gonna be alright. But honestly, for those type of people, I would really recommend letting multiple chapters build up and then just reading them all at once. I know I've started to do that with series like Undead Unluck and My Hero Academia. I just think for certain series it makes it more digestible to read it in chunks like that, but niggas don't be that patient, I already know. But yeah, man, that's all I got for today. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree, and any other things that you think One Piece fans should be aware of. Like the video if you liked the video, and I know you liked the video, so go ahead and like the video. If you didn't like the video, why would you still be watching? Like, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, man, I'm gone. Damn.